You sure you're ready for this?
I'll do my best.
Your best? Losers always whine about their best. Winners go home and the prom queen.
Welcome to the best soccer show. The best soccer show in the whole world.
Here we go, boys and girls. It's the best soccer show live ahead of USA-Mexico, Wednesday night, August 15th, 2012. Your humble host, Jason Davis, Jared Dubois with you. Not so humble. Taking you out to game time to kick off of this highly anticipated matchup between two blood rivals at this stage. But, you know, it's an American, what do we call it? B team, B minus team. How do we?
I don't know. I take it like a blood type, AB. Because you have a few of your A team guys, and you got a whole bunch of your B team guys.
Yes. This is the lineup very quickly. Howard, Fabian Johnson, Jeff Cameron, Marisa Dew. That's your center back pairing. Edgar Castillo, Jermaine Jones, Kyle Beckerman, Danny Williams, Jose Francisco Torres, Landon Donovan, and Hercules Gomez. And to help break down this lineup with us, we've got Leander Sherlackens, brand new over at Fox Soccer and a writer for various other outlets. How are you, Leander?
I'm very well. How are you guys?
Well, we're gearing ourselves up, I think, for disappointment. I've been very down on this game, and I think most of the American soccer public has been pretty down on this game. Leander, is there any cause for hope looking at this lineup that they just put out?
I'm not a big believer in this lineup because I tend to not agree when you put four central midfielders on the field next to one another, and when you insist on playing players out of position, like Klinsmann is again doing here with Danny Williams presumably on the right wing, Jose Francisco Torres presumably on the left wing. Maybe that's done keeping in mind that they can track back and help out defensively, but then you've got a pretty negative mindset going into this game, and I think you do that against Mexico too much, you get killed.
You know, Lander, it's almost it's technically five center midfielders on the field. You're just putting one of them in the middle of the back four. The Mo Adu experiment goes on just as people thought it was going to after seeing a couple lineups in practice. What does this mean for the back line in general? And was there a better option than Marisa Edu even on this roster at all?
You know what? Before I answer that, I would venture that we could even say there's six central midfielders in the lineup because Jeff Cameron is a natural central midfielder.
There you go as well.
Having recently been moved back. And some say that Fabian Johnson really is too. So anyway.
Is this total football? I'm going to go with total football. It's total football, right?
Well, I mean, it's like a Dutch wet dream of sorts where you put seven playmakers on the field. But,
right. I wish.
You know, the Edu thing, there seems to be more there. There's talk that he's talking to Valencia, that they would see him more as a central defender, which he played a little bit earlier in his career. It's interesting, because I think what the U.S. lacks is central defenders who have a little bit more speed. I mean, Bob Bradley experimented with playing Jonathan Bornstein in central defense, and I think we all agree on what we thought on Jonathan Bornstein, but nevertheless, the idea made a certain amount of sense where the U.S. has always been lacking in quick central defenders. I mean, is there anybody there that can keep up with Chicharito? No, of course not.
Right.
So in that sense, it's a worthwhile experiment. And then you've got the very practical problem that you have too many central midfielders, as is quite evident from this lineup, and not enough center backs. So, you know, trying to repurpose a few of those could make sense if the new positions work out.
Now, this is, like I said, it's a rivalry game. It's in the worst part of the year. This is the international date that everybody hates, right before the European season starts. Were Jurgen Klinsmann's hands tied to the point where he didn't really have a choice with this? Because we groused a little bit about the roster he called in. Do you think he could have taken a chance with a couple of other guys, or is this the best we could have hoped for?
I think Jurgen was caught between the rock and the hard place because he's been very vocal and he's been very clear that he wants to test his team as much as possible. He took his January camp guys into Panama to replicate the atmosphere of games like this, of the really tough Central American away qualifier. So clearly that's what he was trying to do here. He said after his first game, I believe, which incidentally was against Mexico, that he would play a team like that every single week if he could. But you've got the guys that are in limbo with their club situation, like Clint Dempsey. You can't call them up. You've got guys who've already started the season, like Josie Altidore. You can't really call them up. You've got the guys who are new at their clubs, like Michael Bradley. You can't call them up. So that makes it hard to once challenge your team as much as possible and put together a squad that's not going to get killed. So this was a hard situation for him. He went about it smartly in that he called up a lot of local guys. He called up pretty much every reasonable American that plays in the Mexican League to see how they would fare. He called up, I think, 7 MLS guys. So he's giving those guys a trial by fire, but you risk humiliating yourself.
Leander, you say that Jurgen was caught between a rock and a hard place here, but isn't he set up that no matter what coming out of this, he's kind of set it up that no matter what, he's kind of free of any kind of burden once either if they win, that story writes itself. I mean, that's a huge win for the U.S. If he loses, is it really any skin off the U.S.'s nose? Because look at the lineup he brought. He's kind of in a win-win situation here, isn't he?
That's another way to look at it. I mean, some people would argue that there's no skin off the nose when anytime the U.S. loses to Mexico. Right. I mean, the rivalry being what it is, even if it is only a friendly, it's not going to be received well by a lot of people. But I think given the circumstances, he approached it pretty smartly. I mean, he's trying some new things, evidently. He's giving Jeff Cameron a real shot. He's trying the Edu thing. There are a few retreads in there. He's got a few guys called up for the first time, like Alan Gordon and Steve Beitashour. I think he's going to get some value from this. But how is it going to look if they lose?
If they lose, and I don't know if there's a magic number, if it's by 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 goals, does it hurt them? I mean, Jared said that he's kind of in a win-win, but there's got to be a certain level where if you get blown out by a big margin, you're setting yourself back, at least mentally.
Yeah, and that's a problem because he said all along that an important part in the maturation of the squad is not just getting the players to the next level, getting the mentality to the next level, but getting Americans in general to the point where they feel like they are on par with the world's best teams, where they're competing on an even playing field and there's no sentiment of being the underdog. And if you get killed in a few games like this, that becomes problematic, as you say. I do think that generally him wanting to play good teams is smart, because what you saw sometimes under Bob Bradley, and that might have been part of the scheduling as well, which wouldn't have been entirely up to him, but they played some bad teams every now and then, and you've not really seen that under Jurgen. It seems that he wants to only play good teams, to his credit, because that's what's going to make them better. But then, of course, you run the inherent risk of having some really bad results.
You know, Leonard, in terms of the places on the field where the U.S. can maybe actually put something together, if they're going to steal a win or if they're going to steal a draw here, what part of the field is going to be essential to that? Is it the overlapping runs of Fabian Johnson, or is it more of a hit them on a counterattack when they're not looking?
Well, I mean, hitting them on the counterattack when they're not looking is a style that I think Klinsmann's trying to get away from.
Right.
So he might revert back to that. I mean, they certainly did against Italy, and they stole the win that way, and that made them look very good. So he might go to that in a pinch, but I think he's going to want his team to try to play with Mexico. So he is going to look to those overlapping runs. He's going to look for the quick breakouts when they win the ball, when they're pressing high. And in a game like this, I would expect Herc Gomez to really take on a leadership role. He plays in that league. He has for a long time. He understands it. He understands the style. He understands his opponents. So if I'm Klinsmann, if I'm drawing up that board in the locker room, I'm pretty much sending everything through Herculez Gomez, who, on the other hand, will be the guy they're looking to.
You mentioned Herculez Gomez. Another guy that plays in Mexico is Jose Francisco Torres. How crucial is he to whatever success the United States will have going forward tonight?
I like Torres. I'm impressed by his skill. I think he's the sort of player the U.S. doesn't have enough of. But there's not really a spot for him in this system, in that he's constantly being played out of position. Like Danny Williams, he's not a winger. He's not going to, as they say in Holland, have chalk on his boots by the time he comes back into the locker room. He's not going to keep the field wide the way I think they need to play that style. So I don't really understand this insistence on playing central players wide.
Leander, there was so many guys playing out of position right now. You have Edgar Castillo out of position. You have Maurice Sadu, possibly Cameron, Jose Francisco Torres. So many, maybe Danny Williams. So many guys out of position. What can we even really gain from any analysis coming out of this game, other than the fact that, hey, they got experience?
Yeah, that's a good question. And, I mean, there are a lot of managers that have fallen prey. I mean, much to my annoyance, Marco van Basten, when he managed Ajax, it seemed at one point he was playing every single player out of position. And you've got managers who try to reinvent the wheel a little bit too much. What you can gain here, of course, is that you discover a new spot for a player that might work. I mean, the reason we know that Fabian Johnson is a good option at left back is because we tried him there. Mm-hmm. And they sort of threw him in there, and it worked. If that happens with a player or two today, then it's a worthwhile exercise, again, provided they don't get clobbered. But really, there is a risk in that, because on the one hand, you say, all right, he didn't play a good game. Well, he didn't play in his natural position, right. So what did we learn? If it doesn't pan out, it's a bit of a waste of a spot in a game. Right.
All right, Leander, I'm going to put you on the spot here, and you may be crushing some of us, but we're ready for it, I think. Do you have a prediction for tonight?
Well, I've already been disappointed once today when Holland lost 4-2 to Belgium. But
Belgium's got talent. They've got talent. Come on.
Belgium's got talent, but they're a team that's perennially sort of falling apart because they're a country that's perennially falling apart. I grew up there. I know what I'm talking about.
Wow.
But
European politics on the best soccer show.
2-0 Mexico.
Okay, that's kinder than I think a lot of people are going to be. Leander Schlackens, go find his stuff at foxsoccer.com. He's writing in a lot of different places. Follow him on Twitter, Leander Alphabet, for all of his stuff. Thanks a lot, Leander. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. I enjoyed it.
All right. So, yeah. So, a 2-0 prediction from Leander Schlackens I can handle.
He said he thinks the U.S. is going to play with Mexico. Listen, I played with Mexico one time. I lost. My liver lost. And you just don't play with Mexico, okay? Tequila wins.
It's a wonderful idea to say we're going to go out there and we're going to play with them. We're not going to sit back and we're not going to just react to what they're doing. We're going to try to dictate some of this. It's a great idea, and people can get on this thought. 201-430-2378 is the phone number, or you can get us on Skype at Best Soccer Show. The idea is great, and if they had the ability, I would say do it. Go out there and play with them. I'm just not sure. This is one of those things of best laid plans kind of situations. You can have that idea in your head, but then when you get on the field at Azteca and there's 120,000, 150,000, whatever, because that stadium keeps getting bigger apparently, fans in the stands yelling at you, and it's smoggy and it's hot, or what, I don't know maybe the temperature's not that high right now, but all of those factors come together, all of your plans go right out the window. And we've seen this 1,000 times before. 3 years ago, the Americans go into Azteca. They get a goal in the first 10 minutes of the game through Donovan to Charlie Davies, and then they spend the next 80 minutes of the match defending, trying to hold on to that.
It was almost like, oh my God, we're up 1-0. What do we do now?
Yes, what do we do now?
But here's the thing. The start of tonight is going to be essential for the U.S. If they can get the first 20 minutes scoreless, anything goes. Honestly, anything goes. Once those nerves wear off for those new players, I mean, they have a shot of doing something. I don't know what it is, but a shot of doing something.
It's the ultimate cliche to say that when you're on the road, you get to get through the first 15 or 20 minutes. But it's a cliche for a reason. There's some truth to it. In this case, what you actually want, and it's going to sound weird here, but after 2009 and just knowing how inexperienced a lot of this team is, like you said, I'd prefer a scoreless first 20 minutes. Not Americans go up by a goal, unless we're going to get 4 in the first 20. Don't go up by a goal.
How did going up 2-0 early work out in the Go Cup a couple years ago? Huh?
Right. I mean, if you go up early, then your instinct is to sit back and hold on to that lead for dear life. And guess what? Against Mexico, with the ways of attack that they'll come at you with, you're not going to be able to do it for 80 minutes or 70 minutes. It's going to be nearly impossible. So I would rather than play it out. In fact, I could do with, obviously I could do with a win, but let's assume that we're going to lose this match. I mean, I don't want to, but let's just assume
let's entertain one thing for a second. If the U.S. wins, what are you prepared to do for all the stuff you've been talking?
Hey, throw it at me. Throw it at me. If you've got something.
How about I heart Michael Orozco Fiscal tattoo?
No tattoos. I can't get a tattoo.
Okay.
No, I'm not going that far.
How about we have your wife write it across your forehead for an episode?
I'll do that. Absolutely. Sure.
Ooh,
sure.
The gauntlet is cast down.
Sure. I'm happy to wear something on my forehead for a show. If it's temporary,
Oh God! Please come through for me, Hercules Gomez.
I will embarrass myself for the show, but I will not. I will not do something permanent. All right, let's go to the phone lines. I think our first call is coming in. Area code 803. Who's this?
Hey, this is Bob. How are you?
Hey, Bob. What's up?
I've been thinking about this for all day. I wonder if we're looking at this wrong. I wonder if it's really about getting players experience and whatnot. And I think it may just be about Jurgen Klinsmann. Yesterday, Jared said, this may be a personal thing for him. I wonder if he just wants to get down there as a coach and see how is it like to coach at Azteca a year before he's going to do it for real.
You know what? Thanks for the call, Bob. It's not. I mean, I don't know about the lineup playing into that, but it's not a bad thought. And that Jurgen Klinsmann needs the education and the experience as much as the players do, Jared. I mean, he's been there.
The guy's coached in a World Cup.
I know. He's played there. I'm just saying that I don't know that there's another environment on the planet that can measure up with those unique. Not that there's a better, it's not that it's the best environment. Just on that level with those kind of atmospheric conditions. Area code 618. Who's this?
Hey, this is Mark.
Hey, Mark. What's up?
Hey, have you guys been watching the pregame? Because right now Azteca looks pretty empty.
Yeah, I'm catching some glimpses here on my television, and I saw a couple people mention that Alexei said 100,000, and somebody said, "Well, look behind you. There's like 10,000 people in the stands." I don't know how it's not going to fill up. I know kickoff's 15 minutes away, or it might be a little bit after 8 o'clock. So
is it possible Mexico is just as disinterested in this game as the U.S. was leading up to it?
It's possible, but really, when did they ever pass up an opportunity? And I know it's a little bit different.
Well, here's the thing: how often does Mexico actually play in Mexico, for one thing?
Well, that's a good point, but they do. I mean, obviously qualifiers and stuff, but
not the U.S.
You got a point about friendlies. They typically don't play friendlies there because they can make more money here. But I saw Nick Raimondo tweet that they reported 122,000 tickets sold. I don't know how they fit 122,000 people in that building, but that's what Nick Raimondo tweeted. So until the game starts with 15, 20,000 in the stands, I'm going to believe it's going to be a sellout, Mark.
Yep. I mean, I was with you. I just saw Grant Wall tweet about it, and I looked on TV, and it's just pretty empty. Yeah. No, I mean, look, if it would be how about let me ask you this question, Jared. If there was only 20,000 people show up to Azteca and the United States wins the game, does it mean as much?
Yeah, yes, it means as much. You won in Azteca. I don't care. I don't care if it's Alan Gordon goal. I don't care how it happens. Obviously, that can happen. He's not even on the bench tonight. But
no, that's sad.
That would be even more impressive, actually. But I don't care how it happens. The jinx is off then. Do you think Mexico cared that they beat the U.S. in the World Cup 5-0 a while back and the U.S. team was a B team? They didn't care. They got the monkey off their back, and that's what mattered.
Grant Wall was tweeting about that. I had a little back and forth with him. He said, I can't remember, I think it was Guardado, was talking about the fact that Mexico kind of got over their mental hump with the Americans in that Gold Cup final where they won 5. I think it was at Giant Stadium. Now, it was a pro-Mexico crowd, as it always is in the U.S., and it was a decided B team for both. But you remember, Jay Heaps was in that team. There was a lot of guys that we knew were not going to be part of the U.S. program moving forward that Bob Bradley called in. They got worked. And supposedly this was now it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you can make yourself believe it in retrospect, because that 3-year window between 2009 and now it happens to coincide with Mexico's players all coming of age and becoming very good. Chicharito and Gios dos Santos and all of these guys. So
that was like one of Gio's coming out parties, remember?
Yeah. So basically what I'm saying is it doesn't matter if it's real or not. If they feel it, it becomes real. You know what I'm saying? So if the United States can go in and steal back that emotional momentum in any way, look, I think a draw here with the team they're putting on the field, a draw.
I totally agree with you, man. You're putting out a very, I don't want to say low quality, but less than strong quality U.S. team at home in Azteca. If you can't beat that team like that, I mean, that's a huge loss for the for Mexico. Let's be honest here. It doesn't mean anything, but how are you going to puff out your chest next time you see each other? The U.S. has bragging rights if that happens.
Right. And you stake a claim. Now, again, I am not confident at all that they can pull this off, but I have to have a belief Otherwise, what's the point? What's the point of sports if you don't have a belief your team can win? 14 minutes.
Whoa. A belief they can win. You've been downplaying them the entire week.
No. What I'm saying is anything can happen in sports. I'm saying my rational brain is saying no chance. Look at who they're playing in defense. Look at who's going to be on the wings.
I think you're kind of scared about putting a Roscoe love on your forehead. Now you're backtracking.
No, I will have. I told you.
Michael freaking Roscoe.
I will happily embarrass myself for the good of the
Let me
show.
ask you a question, by the way.
Static. If the United States can win in Azteca, I don't care. I do the show naked. Nobody wants to see it, but I don't. Come on. How could I possibly?
Speaking of MFOF, would you rather have Michael Orozco-Fiscal at center back next to Jeff Cameron rather than Maurice Adu?
Oh wow!
That's a bit of a pick your poison right there.
It is, and in fact, here let's get. I'm gonna give you the sounder.
You just needed that to needed that to stall, didn't you?
I think I'd rather. I can't believe I'm gonna say this, but I think I'd rather have a Roscoe back there.
I'm telling you, I gotta take a shower. I got a pool right out there, and I got board shorts on. I might go jump out there and wash myself clean because I think I agree with you.
There are two factors here. One, Roscoe's a better defender because he's a natural defender, and two, I actually
familiarity with Mexican players.
Well, there's that, but I was almost gonna say that he might be better with the ball than Maurice Adu, but that's probably a little harsh on Mo.
You know what? I think that's a good question for our listeners during this pregame. You've got a couple minutes left before we go live to the game, so if you want to answer that question, that's the one I want to know from the people out there listening right now. Would you rather have Michael Orozco-Fiscal over Maurice Adu in this case? And how dirty do you feel if you do?
This is Sophie's choice.
It's pretty nasty, dude.
It's up there. It's a tough call. You can't really just kind of throw a name out. You've got to think about this one and think of all the factors involved. Obviously hoping Maurice Adu shows well here, not just for this game and for the U.S. chances, but I'd love to see Maurice Adu at Valencia. That's consistently the third best team in Spain. That would be pretty amazing for an American.
It'd be great for him to go there. I just don't know I don't know if to go take him as a defender. That's just as weird all around. I don't know why, but it's just odd to me. But we should say we haven't really talked about what formation this is going to be. I know when we got Leander on the line before we went live, he was saying 4-4-2 right off the bat, and I think you and I were kind of taken aback by that because I think we see another Christmas tree type formation here, which is I think what they played against Italy. Is that correct?
I believe they started out that way. I don't know if they finished up that way.
It just seems really natural that way, doesn't it?
I do think it naturally sets up where Torres and Williams are not necessarily on the wings. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I think you're more likely to see a pair of midfielders in front of the back line, somebody ahead of them, and then Torres and Williams kind of playing in, well, maybe it's Williams back there, whatever. Torres, I got to look at the lineup again because now I'm all flustered here trying to figure out what's going on.
No, you got Williams, Jones, and Beckerman most likely doing that back three.
Yeah, okay. I was going to say Beckerman and Williams probably more likely to be behind Jones because Jones is more of a box-to-box better passer. And then you got Torres and Donovan and Gomez who can kind of work out that situation in an interchange. Obviously, Herc is going to be up top, but
I'm going on the record saying it's a tandem bomb.
4-3-2-1 per U.S. Soccer. That is the authority, Jared. So you lose. It's not a tandem bomb.
You said it wrong. 4-3-1-2.
4-3-1-2, which is again the formation notation gets a little wacky, and it tends not to be as important as we make it out to be.
It's going to evolve through the game. People are going to go wherever they have to go to make the game game work. You know.
Okay, but in this case, if it's 4-3-1-2 as U.S. Soccer says, then that's Beckerman, Williams, and Jones behind Francisco Torres behind Donovan and Hercules Gomez.
Which is better for Torres. I think we would both agree that Torres in that kind of that cog role, the one that kind of unites the midfielders and the forwards. I think that's a good role for him, but it's asking a lot of him with a player like Torrado out there disrupting.
Right, and I don't know where you see I think Leander was talking about Torres and Williams because where else are you going to get your width? So I guess we'll find out how they play this. We'll be back at halftime. Best Soccer Show, North American Soccer Network, NASN.TV. Talk to you guys then. Back on the Best Soccer Show, halftime, USA Mexico 0-0 at the half. We are taking your calls, 201-430-2378, live open lines. Give us your thoughts on the first half. You know what, Jared? I'm moderately encouraged by that.
I dare someone to be negative.
Yeah, well, okay, you could be negative about individual players. There's a couple of people you could pick out. Jermaine Jones wasn't very good. I'm not sure Paco Torres had that great of a half. But you know what was actually not too bad? The defense was not too bad, Jared. There was some bright spots there.
I feel this is like when you ask a girl that's kind of ugly to prom, and you show up at the door and like, oh, she cleans up pretty well.
It's like every 80s movie where the mousy female lead.
We're dating the Ringwald right now.
Yes, this is the Ringwald. Yeah, there's a little bit.
Is the Ali Sheedy maybe?
Yeah, okay, maybe Ali Sheedy. I don't know. Ringwald. Did you think of her as hot back in the day? I
never found Raleigh Ringwald.
Yeah, it's always man. It was always a little sketchy there. But Ali Sheedy, okay, I can see that a little bit of an upgrade. The bottom line is that they have put together 45 minutes of kind of no nonsense, take care of business soccer. There weren't a lot of chances. They had a couple of things happen. We were just talking at the end of the half. Things get bogged down on the wing entirely too much. Neither one of the fullbacks seemed to want to push forward enough to actually create some crossing chances. But for the most part,
I can't be mad at them for that, though. I can't be mad at them for that.
I don't know what the shots were. I don't remember. There was no shots on goal. Did Mexico have a shot on goal? Any of them?
I don't remember Howard making a save. I don't remember Howard making a save at all. U.S. has one at least. I remember one in particular.
I think that's a victory of sorts. Now, you want to go out and finish the job. Now that you've gotten this far, don't take any steps back. Don't come out and blow it in the second half. That's a friendly. There's going to be some substitutions, both on Clemson's part and on Mexico's part. But you should be able to at least continue. Now, do you make that switch? Do you go, all right, now we're going to push a little bit more? Because the issue here is keeping the ball is a problem. Jermaine Jones isn't doing a very good job of that. Kyle Beckerman's had several issues kind of right in front of that back line that have made us swallow our gum once or twice, Jared.
I think Beckerman is doing a very good job getting in passing lanes and being disruptive, doing the Beckerman's thing. But what you also associate with Beckerman normally, at least in MLS, he's one of the best passers of the ball in the league. Not that he's making creative passes or anything like that, but he makes consistent, good, short passes, which you want. I don't see that in this game right now, but I think he is still bringing something to the game in terms of disrupting the offense of Mexico and starting the offense for the U.S. once he does so.
Look, like you said, dare people to be negative. 201-430-2378. Give us your assessment of this first half. Grade it on a scale A to F, and let us know what you make of this, considering the lineup. Considering Moadu in the center of defense. Area code 214, who's this? Who's this? Hello? Hold on a second. I may need to make an adjustment. This may be my fault. Hold on one second. And look, go ahead and fill for me here because I've got
okay, well, first of all, I got to talk about one guy in particular. Jeff Cameron has been everywhere he's needed to be in this game. Right. He has shown why I think I don't know. I don't want to go so far as to say he's better center back than he is midfielder.
Sorry about that. Area code 214, who's this?
This is Manny from Dallas.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, how you doing? We're up here holding it down at Trinity Hall.
Oh, nice.
Outlaws. So far, it seems like this game has been the back line trying to earn their stripes. And let's hopefully we might get lucky and catch an offside and score a 1-0.
So you're fairly encouraged by this, right? How can you not be?
Yeah, I am. So, they're not scoring. Look, that's the whole deal. Do not let them score. Just catch that counter.
Yep.
If that's the only chance we got, let's do it. All right, I'm out.
In Mexico. Thanks for the call, Manny. In Mexico. Now, granted, this is Azteca light. This is Azteca.
Yeah.
This is Azteca hungover, after a 3-day binger in Vegas and just doesn't really care that much. They're just going to show up and go through the motions.
That's easiest to say on TV. We don't know how it's coming off in the stadium, but on TV, it doesn't look nearly as imposing as I've seen it before.
No, relatively speaking, there's nobody there. Not compared to a qualifier. It's not the same kind of atmosphere. I saw a couple of American flags in the stands before the game, Jared. Do you think that would ever happen in a crucial World Cup qualifier with Mexico at Azteca? Would that ever actually? Could you?
Yes, but it depends on where in the stadium you see him. Obviously, there'll be a supporters section normally, so you'd see him there. You're just talking randomly through the stadium.
Sure, yeah, I saw a couple actually down on field level, pretty close to field level. I saw a couple of American flags. So The issue, the things that we are focusing on. Jeff Cameron, Mark Fishkin on Kick says really impressed with Cameron. I think he's kind of a takeout here that we're happy to see what Jeff Cameron is able to, and that's helping Maurice Adu a lot. I mean, I don't know that Maurice Adu has been good necessarily, but he's been
been enough. You know,
yeah.
I guess that's what it comes down to. I don't know that he might get exposed at some point in this game. 90 minutes for Maurice Adu at that position is asking a lot, but Jeff Cameron has been more than equal to the task of doing his part of it. And you and I were talking during the game on one play in particular when Chicharito gets free, doing what Chicharito does, running at goal with about 6 yards to go, finding that little through ball, and both defenders were there in his pocket. Right. They know exactly what Chicharito's game is, and so far they've been up to it.
Low, hard cross to the near post, which Chicharito eats for, Hernandez eats for breakfast. And you're right, there were two, but I think it was both Adu and Cameron tracking him there. Now, you know, one of them maybe needs to stay at the top of the 6-yard box to watch for the cutback, but at least they are they're marking the guys that are most dangerous for Mexico. I don't know, you know, there could be an element here as well of Mexico just not playing their best. But I think that we have to focus on the positives, considering the strength of the lineup that Klinsmann threw out. Now, do we expect any changes? Do we want any changes? What would you like to see that would actually give the United States a better chance of winning while also managing the game in the back? Because I think that's the crucial.
If that's the case, if that's the criteria you're putting out right now, I'm not sure that criteria is the same as what Klinsmann's going to have as his criteria. But in terms of the way you just set it up, there's only one sub I really want to see in this game, and that's probably about the 65, 70-minute mark. I want to see Gomez come out, Terrence Boyd come in, fresh legs, big body, something that Mexico doesn't always deal well with, and let him bottom up these guys when they're already tired late in the game.
Yep. You guys can interact with us at kick.com, KYCK, social network for soccer fans over there. We're taking some Kick messages and reading them on the air here. So make sure you sign up there, follow the Best Soccer Show on
Kick. If for some reason you're not comfortable with your voice on the air, send us something on there. We'll read it. Yeah,
absolutely. Offensively, and you mentioned Terrence Boyd being your preferred substitute up top, is there anything? There's a room for Wondolowski in this game. Is there room? Do you want to get one of the other youngish MLS defenders, Beasler or Betashore, in this game? Do you want to? I don't know.
Here's the thing. I think we're 45 minutes from doing something that could be historic, and I don't want to jinx it or anything like that. But I don't really want to see those guys. I don't want to mess with something that's kind of working right now in terms of defense.
That's the concern. So now you're Jurgen Klinsmann, okay? You come in with this team and you kind of have to make do, and you put this defense out there, and they're playing well through 45, and you can see the finish line, at least a draw. You can see the finish line. Are you afraid to mess it up so you don't tinker too much? Now he's going to make substitutes. It's a friendly. It would be a waste if he's not making 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 substitutions in this game. It would be stupid to take all these guys and then not play them at least a little.
The later this game goes, and the more the score stays the same, the more it might be building up in the back of his head. I could be the first guy to do it. Maybe he doesn't go for 5 subs. Maybe he starts to get a little bit tries to put the seals on this thing and see if he can actually turn this into something, and doesn't go for the mass substitutions and just bleed these guys like we said he was going to do. The further it goes, the more of a real game it becomes.
Is there anybody that I mean, if we're going to turn it and be negative just a little bit, anybody needs to step up their game? Anybody that's not showing well? I mean, we mentioned Jermaine Jones.
I think we talked about Beckerman a little bit, and Jermaine Jones, not so much that he needs. I don't know that he's doing anything bad. He's just not doing anything to really put a stamp on the game. He's just kind of there right now. Right. But what I will say is one thing, two areas that I think they can improve. Number one, I think one of the things that frustrated you and I is that maybe it's the altitude, maybe it's not, but every pass going forward is just a couple inches too far from releasing a player. Yep. It's a little bit out of reach. There's a lot of that little stabbing going on up there right now.
A lot of altitude, though.
It does happen a lot of altitude. So maybe we'll see in the second half they can dial that in a little bit. Secondly, I'm just crying. This game is crying for Fabian Johnson to go forward.
Yeah,
because how often are you seeing Danny Williams on an island and he doesn't have any support there quick enough, so he's getting the double team before Fabian Johnson can get there to do anything because Fabian Johnson's holding back.
He's doing a good job of locking down their right side, but you're right. In order to get the United States a couple more chances, he's going to have to do something else. Area code 913, who's this?
Hi, it's Rob in Kansas City.
Hey, what's up, man?
On substitutions, I'll say one thing. I don't know if you covered this in the pregame. How disappointing is it that Alan Gordon isn't at least suiting up?
We did mention it. It's kind of sad. we want the Alan Gordon magic. If you're going to call him, look, he took 23. He's not going to. We knew he wasn't going to dress 23. I mean, who doesn't dress in? Terrence Boyd, you want. Chris Wondolowski, okay, maybe you swap it out. Chris Wondolowski's the leading scorer in MLS. Alan Gordon's the guy off the bench for the Earthquakes, even if he's got the goals. It's just, yeah. I mean, it's.
Listen, you don't bring Chris Angel to Vegas without wanting to see a couple tricks.
Yeah, but but is it become a Rudy situation? And really, are you just kind of pandering at that point? I mean, Alan Gordon's not a U.S. international going forward.
Alan Gordon is not a lot of things. What he is magic. Okay, and that's what you might need in the last couple minutes of this game. Listen, I'm not saying Alan Gordon is a world beater. I ain't saying he's a Mexico beater. I'm saying that he defies a certain amount of odds for a few minutes every game. And that's all I know about Alan Gordon right now.
Yeah, he's made of pixie dust, spider webs, and magic. All right, Jonathan, anything else?
Right. Yeah, well, I would say, besides I wanted just a picture of him in the jersey, but I think also with Edu picking up a yellow card so early, as soon as he picked up that yellow card, I didn't think it was possible for him to go the rest of the game without another yellow. So I think you could see someone, I mean, as an SKC, I'd like to see Beasler come out. But I don't know if he'll stick it out the whole 45.
Well, especially with a guy like Chicharito, he's going to have to mark a guy who knows when to go down. He knows how to initiate contact. He knows how to make fouls look good.
Yeah, though, I don't know that we're going to see Chicharito a whole lot longer. I mean, you got Denigris on the bench there. It is a friendly. Why burn out Chicharito? He's going to send him back to Manchester completely gassed from playing in Mexico City. I would imagine in this situation, he's coming out at 60, 65. I mean, he could come off at halftime. I haven't seen anything about substitutions yet. We've just come back to Estadio Azteca on ESPN. So I'm just saying that's not really, I don't think, the concern. Like Jonathan said, you got Maurice Adu on a yellow. Do you really want it? He's already played a pretty solid shift, 45 minutes in center back where he's not that comfortable. Do you want to push him? Where's the line to say, okay, that's enough, Mo. Go sit down, have a rest. You did a good job. Pat him on the back and let him carry it.
And I guarantee you right now, Klinsmann wants to get a look at Michael Roscoe-Fiscal. This is a guy he had a lot of faith in early on, and I think he's going to want to get a look at him. And this is probably the best chance he's going to get a look at him. And by the way, another entry from Kick. This is from Leo. He says he's not impressed with Kyle Beckerman so far. I think we aren't either. Liking what he sees from Cameron and Castillo. That's a name that we haven't associated with liking much. Yeah, but last game, I think we were both fans last game.
I think I think Edgar Castillo was pretty solid. I mean, a couple of times he gets isolated. He's not the best one-on-one defender, but as long as he gets a little bit of help, and I'd like to see him be a little bit smoother playing the ball out of the back. But generally he's played pretty well. Area code 770. Who's this?
This is Joe.
Hey, what's up, Joe?
Hey, in terms of substitutions, I agree. I'd like to see Boyd at some point in the second half, but I feel like we could use some runners in midfield. Running forward when we do get the ball, I feel like there's a lot of getting it up top and nobody's really coming in to support.
Yeah.
So at some point, it's a give and take, but I feel like Jose Torres may be able to slot back into that sort of left-sided trio of the three midfielders and maybe put somebody like Joe Corona up there in that.
That's not a bad idea.
Sort of run forward.
Is Joe Corona your speed guy, though? Is Joe Corona your speed guy? He's more of your setup guy. I think Beasley or Shea is better for that.
But what I think what he's saying is you can play Joe Corona in the middle, and he can give, when the ball goes wide, he can give a late running option into the box. Whereas right now, Donovan's getting it out there on the left, and everything just goes static. And he's either having to play back, or he's trying to play long crosses to the other side of the. Trying to cross to switch fields, and he's missed a couple of times trying to get Danny Williams out there. So I see what you're saying. You risk something. There's give and take here. Every change you make is going to create a more difficult situation defending, because I don't know. Joe Corona might be a decent swap here. Because if Jose Torres isn't playing very well...
Hold up. We got to acknowledge something here. A caller named Joe wants a guy named Joe in the field. I think it's a little bit selfish stuff going on here.
Is that what it is, Joe?
And Breck Shea or DeMarcus Beasley, good calls. And I don't know if they can play in the middle or not. I don't really see him in that position a lot of times.
I was just referencing the speed part of your comment.
To sort of create something different than what we've had so far.
Right,
so,
look,
I'll get off here, but...
all right, Joe. Thanks.
Yeah, I just like to see. I'd like to see something a little bit. it's going to have to be real late in the second half if you want it, because you don't want to risk too much.
Well, again, if you're holding on, thanks for the call. If you're holding on for the draw, or maybe you scam one here at some point and you're holding on 1-0, any change you make is a dangerous change. Now, Jared, the other option here is DeMarcus Beasley or Breck Shea and pushing Donovan into the middle. I mean, he's not that he's playing on the wing, but he's finding himself on the left. You can take that responsibility away, put Breck Shea's feet on the chalk as Leander was talking about before the game, and that should create a couple of more options.
Well, a guy that I want to see in this game right now that isn't there with the team and wouldn't even normally necessarily be there, but I would love to see a Benny Feilhaber. I don't know why, but this game right now, the way it's being played, the style it's being played. What?
You're doing that thing again. The roster. What? There are people there's a team in Mexico City. You have options on the bench. Focus on look. I know it'd be nice to have Benny Feilhaber. It'd be nice to have.
It's that type of game right now where balls are being picked up in midfield and the point of attack is switching really quick. A guy that gets his head up quickly and plays balls quickly and starts the offense. That's what this game is sorely missing right now. Jose Francisco Torres is a creator, a slow build-up kind of player. Who's the guy's going to get their head up and go downfield? Donovan, if he's getting it, he's in a more advanced position right now. He only has one option in front of him. I would love to see someone in midfield do that.
And then drop Donovan back. Slide somebody in behind, or just go 4-4-2 and play somebody up top with Herculez Gomez. Put Boyd in alongside Gomez rather than taking Gomez out of the game. I mean, there's a lot of things he can, but again, what is he giving up on the defensive end? I mean, if you were going to leave Beckerman, Jones, and why am I blanking right now? Williams in the game. If you're going to leave all of these guys,
Williams had that much of a game.
It's not that really Beckerman and Jones specifically, who are supposed to be, cleaning things up and keeping Mexico on the back foot. I don't know. What
I'm saying is I don't think we're getting much out of Danny Williams right now. I think he's caught between being in the center, being on the right. When he gets free on the right, like you said, he doesn't have many options. He doesn't seem to find a way to beat a guy on the dribble out there. And Johnson's coming way too late for the help. So what's Danny Williams really giving you out there? Maybe you pull Donovan back into the midfield, let him be that guy that gets his head up. You bring Boyd up top, and you play Herculez Gomez and Boyd up top.
Yeah, okay. I mean, there are a lot of ways to go. How tightly do you hold on to your scoreless draw right now? How much do you put into the potential emotional lift?
Listen, Klinsmann has already hit what the bare minimum would be. 45 good minutes at 0-0. I don't fault him. You go for it right now. This is your chance. You're 45 minutes in against a sparse crowd in Azteca, a Mexico team that's giving the ball away more than you would expect. Try to hit it and quit it.
Oh, wow. There are so many analogies that are running through my head right now. You just turned Azteca into something out of Scarface.
Like you never hit and quit something Mexican.
God dang, man. Am I allowed to? Oh, wait, that is not what I want. Am I allowed
a smooth operator.
Wait, am I allowed to do it twice in a row? You just, all right, back it up.
I went to college in San Diego. What do you want?
All right, so give me your outlook here. We don't know what changes are coming. I don't know what's going to happen in terms of the
snap. To start the second half, I say around 60 minutes. You see 60 to 70 minutes. You see Terrence Boyd, and I don't really think you're going to see wholesale changes unless the result gets out of reach.
I do agree that Mo Adu needs to come off at some point. Now, I do think that you might take a step back in terms of just the experience situation. I mean, Mo Adu is an experienced American international, played in the World Cup. This may be his first Azteca experience, but if you throw in a Matt Beasler or somebody like that, you risk a bad moment being your downfall rather than bad defending, because we know the kid can defend. So I think Adu sitting on the yellow is a must substitute at some point. I just don't know if we're going to be improving the situation. You're really just kind of saying, I'm hedging my bets here. I don't want to get Mo Adu sent off with a second yellow. I'm going to send in Beasler and see how he handles it. Hope Jeff Cameron can cover for him.
Yeah, last thing you want to do right now is lose it on a technicality like a red card or something like that.
Yeah, I want to see Jeff Cameron go 90. I don't know if that's a good idea either, but I want to see Jeff Cameron go 90 because he is the most impressive individual out there right now. All right, let's wrap this thing up. Halftime show over. We will be back post-game, 201-430-2378. If you want to leave a voicemail as the game's going on, we can take those as well. You can get us on KYCK.com. Get us. Follow Best Soccer Show. Follow Best Soccer Show on Twitter, Best Soccer Show. And we'll be back to talk to you guys then. Let's hope it. Jared, let's cross our fingers. Let's do what all the lucky stuff we can do. Because this would be amazing.
Let's hope we come back and you have to write something on your forehead.
Let's hope that. Thanks for listening, guys. We'll talk to you after the game. Bye. So that just happened. Did that just happen? Did that just happen?
What you called less than 1.5% happened.
Yeah, I was wrong. I mean, okay, I think the percentage was right, but I was wrong. Obviously, they won the game. And look, I mean,
Michael freaking Arasco Fiscal. Michael Arasco Fiscal.
I don't even know where to begin. I am. You and I are watching that game, talking while it's going on, and you were making sex noises. First of all, which was made me uncomfortable. But I don't blame you because, look, it was not like some performance you're gonna, say means some new dawn in American soccer, but because it's Azteca and because it was that defensive setup we didn't think could hold out against Mexico, held out against Mexico, and they found a goal. And the guy who set up the goal is the guy we said shouldn't have been called in because it was a pity party summer camp for Brek Shea. And Michael freaking Orozco Fiscal is somewhere sitting on the back post for some reason, and Terrence Boyd hits a.
I don't know how the right back makes that run because that was like a breakaway. I think over a turnover in midfield, and somehow the right back is all the way up the field, just subbed in, so he's got the legs, finds his way into the offensive scheme somehow. Terrence Boyd, I thought he was trying to shoot with his heel. You think it was a pass, but either way, has the presence of mind to put the ball in a dangerous area, and the guy's there to put it away.
We are taking phone calls, 201-430-2378. I'm sure some people would like to exult in that result. I mean, again, that team, no chance, did not think it was possible. And not only did I not think it was possible, I think, like a lot of people, I thought a multiple goal victory for Mexico. And I wondered if the United States could find one. Now, they managed to find one that it was kind of out of the blue. I'm not sure anybody expected them to score. I think we would have been happy with the 0-0 draw, right? But they put on Brek Shea with his terrible haircut and his bad attitude, and bing, and it was old Brek Shea. It was flashes of that Brek Shea that you were like, oh my God.
We talked about it at halftime. This team needed speed, and they found speed in Brek Shea. It's speed that unlocked that defense. Granted, it was a good move, bad touch, good recovery by Brek Shea. It's everything Brek Shea is, honestly, in one move.
Yes. Yes.
It's speed. It's a cluster for a second, and then it's a decent recovery. That's what he is.
I don't care how it got done. And I don't care that it was a friendly. Area code 972, who's this?
Hey, this is Will.
Hey,
Thanks
Will.
for taking my call, guys.
No problem.
So I've been a little haterade on Brek Shea for pretty much a few months now. I thought I would get on the air here. And
who wasn't?
Concede my hate.
But Will, who wasn't down on Brek Shea? He gets benched.
Well, I've always been down on Brek, even during the hype. So
okay.
I know where I have to get on here.
Does this change your mind, though?
My mistake.
Well, okay. Will, are you saying that now Brek Shea should be in the mix for a while, or we should be looking at him?
Yeah. Because if you look at it, how he had a down period and he actually came into a hostile environment, made history, took on a defender, made that goal happen. You're gonna have to kind of open your eyes a little bit and say, hey, maybe we're wrong.
What other player on the field though was going to take a player on in this game? No one. No other player was going to take a player on in this game.
Couple of attempts, it didn't go so well. Area code 214, who's this?
Hello?
Yeah, what's up?
It's Manny from Dallas again. Hey, I just got one thing to say.
Yeah. Thanks, Manny. That was nice. Look, okay, area code they're coming fast and furious. Area code 361, who's this?
Yeah, this is Daniel in Tucson, Arizona.
Hey, Daniel.
Hey, I thought Breck Shea did fantastic on that play. He has had some serious problems in the last few weeks, but definitely came through there. I like the way the center backs played fantastic, and that's pretty much all I got. I'm looking forward to the next games.
Thanks for the call. I mean, look, the storyline now is the victory in Mexico, the goal, Breck Shea coming on and making an immediate impact. Michael, I'm going to wear the thing out, and I'm sure you people don't care. Michael freaking Orozco Fiscal gets the goal, but I think really for the future, what we should be focusing on, what will make us feel warm and fuzzy, Jared, is how the defense played. I mean, Mexico was not sharp. Mexico was not there on their A game, but we've lost to Mexico by multiple goals when they weren't on their A game before. So this is a step in the right direction, at least for Jeff Cameron. Whether or not Maurice Adu is a center back option going forward, I don't know. I mean, you still have a couple of guys that weren't called into this camp that can step in and play next to Jeff Cameron, but that is a fabulous performance.
For a team who you thought the best result was going to be experience.
Right.
What better experience could they ever have? Every one of those young players has this in their back pocket for the rest of their career with the U.S. men's national team. You want to talk about head games. You want to talk about that kind of stuff. And Breck Shea, this could break him out of his funk. Let's be honest.
Yeah, you know what? And I'm thinking about that after the Breck Shea goal. Jurgen Klinsmann was right about everything. How dare we doubt Jurgen Klinsmann, Jared? I mean, okay, it comes out this way. Again, Mexico wasn't the greatest, but he made the call, calling in Cameron and playing Adu in center and central defense, and he put Edgar Castillo on one side and Fabian Johnson on the other. And while they weren't dynamic going forward, they locked things down, and that's what you're going to have to do to win at Azteca. And we doubted it. We thought they couldn't keep the ball out of the net, and then we doubted Breck Shea coming in. We didn't think that was a good idea. And it all pays off.
We're in a position right now where we have to kind of applaud two guys that a year ago were the whipping boys of U.S. soccer, Fiscal and Edgar Castillo. You remember how badly they got it? And I mean, you and I were part of it. I'm not going to lie, but I think the performances deserved it then. But Edgar Castillo, over the last two games, has done a really good job of basically recovering a lot of the image problems he got from a year ago.
Yeah, absolutely. And, as much as I hate to have to take one, I mean, I made an agreement. I won't call it a bet.
You made a gentleman's agreement.
I made an agreement, and it wasn't that I didn't want them to score. I was definitely dying for them to score. But when the ball went in the net, my hands went to my mouth. I was like, oh no, I was in denial for a couple.
For people that may not listen to the pregame, what do you have to do now?
Okay. The original, and this was flying at me on Twitter, the original discussion involved a tattoo. There are no tattoos happening. I'm not getting.
No, you took the coward's way out on that one.
The coward's way out. Really, you would get a tattoo if I.
Hell no.
Yes, right. So don't hold me to a standard you can't live up to yourself. I agreed to write Michael freaking Orozco Fiscal.
For the record, it's I heart Michael Orozco Fiscal across your forehead.
I have a fairly sizable forehead. I mean, it's not Landon Donovan size. It's a fairly sizable forehead. It's not going to fit. I can tell you that right now. It's not going to fit. So if I do this, we're going to have to work this. I'm not backing out of the agreement. I made the agreement. I'm more than happy to be embarrassed. The United States won Azteca.
I want to hit one thing. Yeah, I know. U.S. won at Azteca. It's a brave new world. I mean, we've had two of those this week. Alan Gordon made a national team, and then this. But and here's the thing. One thing we haven't covered yet. Reports out of Azteca that the U.S. fans had to be evacuated, that they're getting stuff thrown at them.
Yes.
One thing, I hope they're all safe. But if they're safe, those soccer fans, those American soccer fans, have the coolest story maybe of any U.S. soccer fan ever. That they were there for that and had to be evac'd afterwards. Pretty cool story.
Yeah. We would love to hear from somebody that was there at Azteca. There are people, and I hate to bring us down. There are people raining on this parade all over the place, and I don't understand this. There was, I saw a friend of ours say on Twitter, this would be a pretty disappointing game to be the first win at Azteca. I don't think it matters. Who cares? Well, no. Any game, there has never been a win in Azteca. So I don't care if it's a qualifier or a friendly or whatever. You have to get the first one before you can get the second. I'm just ecstatic. Area code 916. Who's this?
Brian.
Hey, Brian, what's up?
Hey, what do you guys think about center backs? Do you think Bocanegra still has what happens? I mean, they're going to stick with Cameron, but what do you think about Adu?
I don't think Adu is a lock to be playing there, and he's not a long term. I mean, maybe he becomes a center back if he makes a move out of Rangers, and maybe he becomes a regular option. But I think as long as Bocanegra is on the top of his game, and who knows what's going on with him and his club situation, he's got to be playing regular minutes at a high level before I trust him again. Not because he's not a good player.
On the flip side of that, though, is Cameron did a very good job of cementing a conversation, to be in the conversation. I don't think Clarence Goodson's done anything to necessarily negate that he's been very good over the last year or so, especially. But Cameron's in the conversation, and so if Bocanegra and Goodson are 1A and 1B, I mean Cameron's next in line for one of those two positions. I would say at this point right now.
I think an excellent point from producer Trevor. It's not just that the United States won at Azteca, and we would have been thrilled no matter who was on the field for the United States if that happens. But it's a lot of those guys that we will see in the next 4 years that aren't going anywhere. I mean, DeMarcus Beasley needs to go somewhere. I'm sorry, DeMarcus, that's bad. You should not. I don't know what's going on with you. Maybe he picked up a knock I don't know about, but he certainly didn't play his way into my heart again. So. I think, but the guys, I mean, the Breck Shea and Terrence Boyd and okay, maybe we weren't convinced before, and maybe we're still not convinced, but he gets the goal. Michael Orozco Fiscal. Those three guys are not going anywhere, provided that they all stay on form and are remain on the path of development that they are. We get Breck Shea restarted, I guess, is part of it. But those guys aren't going anywhere in terms of age. They're not going to have to be put out to pasture. If it had been Clint Dempsey and Landon Donovan and Bocanegra and Aguchi Onyewu, who's not there yet, or may not be again. If it had been those guys, and Jermaine Jones was on the field, but I don't think he was a crucial part of that victory. He played his role. He wasn't very good. Kind of won it in spite of him. Because it was that next generation, it gives us even more to be excited about. Right?
Hold on. I got to text my wife and make sure she knows that my U.S. jersey needs to be clean. I'm wearing it to work tomorrow.
Okay. Your quality's going out. I think we have Mexican sabotaging the line. Mexican fans sabotaging the line. Ian Dark tweeted, showered with beer by angry Mexican fans as USA went at Azteca for the first time. I think it was beer anyway. Ooh, you might want to get tested. Ian, you might want to get tested because that might not be beer. That might be...
what's crazy? What's crazy about this result? Landon Donovan not on the field. I mean, that's
not the field for the goal, and certainly
the guy you got to think that was probably going to be the guy that could unlock this thing, not on the field. That's not to negate what he did. I think he had a decent game overall. But just talking about just the complementary of players that are out there, how many pieces were missing? Tim Howard comes up huge twice.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, there's a couple of components here that everything worked out perfectly, and I'm going to sleep really, really well tonight.
Yeah, look, as a sports fan in general, and specifically of this team, it doesn't get better than this unless it meant something. But again, Mexico and the United States don't play friendlies. They play games that matter because they don't want to lose to the other one. So this still counts.
And people that say it's not important or anything like that, you forget. You have to go to Azteca next year, and it's going to count. Right. Do you know the head games that are going to be played now? The doubt that's going to be in the Mexican players' minds? Because here's the thing. While a lot of these guys for the U.S. team aren't going to be on the field next year, a lot of these guys from Mexico are going to be on the field next year. They'll be in the mix. And that's the thing I think that doesn't bother me that it was a friendly. They're going to go back next year. And when they go back next year, it won't be, the United States hasn't won in 25 trips to Azteca. It will be the last time these two teams played in this stadium, on this field, the United States won the game. Area code 706, who's this?
Hey, this is Rob.
Hey, what's up, Rob?
My name is Mark, just basking in the glory.
Basking in the glory, sounding low-key as you always do, Rob.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. But,
no, it's all right. It's
hard not to be.
So what do you take away? What's your shining moment here? I mean, besides the goal, is it Breck Shea? Are we back on the Breck Shea bandwagon?
Well, I think he's perfect for that super sub role. When he's got the energy, he can take on anybody when he's up for it.
Right.
But I think the biggest thing is Jeff Cameron.
Jeff Cameron is the takeaway. I absolutely agree. All right, they're coming in, Rob. We got to get going. Area code 347. Who's this?
Oh, it's Mark Fishkin, boy.
Hey, Mark.
Mr. Mark.
So you and I and everybody else, we were pretty sure this was going to get ugly.
On the phone.
It didn't get.
Yeah, I was very, very sure that this was going to be very, very, very ugly.
Right. And now we're all eating a big helping of crow, and we're fine with it, right? It's the best tasting crow on the planet.
I think I'm completely fine with it. And can Breck Shea continue sucking at FC Dallas all season long?
Well, okay. Here's the thing. We have to be sure that Klinsmann will continue to call him in, because in this case, I mean, he made all of those noises, Mark. That it was it was reaching out to a young player who needs a hand. Is he going to do that the next time Breck Shea throws a fit and gets in trouble and gets sat down and doesn't play well at his club? Is he going to do that again? Breck Shea's going to have to figure this out and grow up and become that player.
But this is his opportunity now. I mean, this is his moment where he can try to go forward from here and really change what's going on. He has that opportunity now.
Right. I got anything else, Mark?
I think Breck Shea showed up and grew up big time tonight in his 11 minutes on the field, and for him to have the stones to actually go at Mexico for maybe the second or third time all night, was absolutely masterful. So I hope this is a watershed for Shea, not just with the national team, but also with Dallas, because if we know he can do this, he's got to be able to do it week in, week out.
Right. Thanks for the call, Mark. It justifies what Jurgen Klinsmann did. It does. It completely justifies it. We weren't sure that it was the right move. We thought it was a waste of a roster spot. Klinsmann calls him in. He inserts him at the right time. Boom. Area code 626. Who's this?
Yeah, this is Mark. Another Mark.
A different Mark.
Guys, again, you guys are talking about a lot of people who are raining on people's parades, and I just want to try to take a step back and, without trying to be a Debbie Downer or anything, just want to just go through the facts here. I mean, if you watch that game, it was plainly obvious who dominated that game, and it was clear that the U.S. really, I mean, for the most part, they pretty much stole the game, right? So, I mean, they were thoroughly outplayed. Mexico, I don't really think this affects anything other than maybe give some of those younger players a little bit of a better mentality, going into Mexico City next year. I don't necessarily think this means anything for people like Breck Shea or Roscoe Fiscal. I mean,
it's certain. Wait, whoa. I'm sorry. You can argue about the being thoroughly outplayed. There, I can't really come against you on that issue. But this definitely means something for Breck Shea. This is young careers are often turned on singular moments. This is a big moment. So it's big for Breck Shea in the psychological sense. Does it mean that now he's some kind of U.S. men's national team stalwart and, oh my God, we've got a left-sided midfielder who's dangerous and can create like that all the time? No, because he hasn't been consistent. He hasn't shown it. But he's obviously got the talent, and he put it out there tonight. And that's why it matters. And I was going to get to this eventually. But this doesn't mean anything about the gap everybody's talking about. While I continue to say that measuring yourself against Mexico is fairly ridiculous, unless you're trying to take things from them to say, all right, well, we can get better by using this thing that the Mexicans do. That's different. That's taking your cues in terms of the development system is different than saying, well, we're so far behind the Mexicans. Oh my God. We're not measuring ourselves against the Mexicans, and so just beating them doesn't mean anything in terms of we've closed the gap. I don't care about the gap. I care about the United States men's national team growing and getting better, and whether or not they got outplayed tonight, which again we expected. They didn't have the team to play with Mexico, certainly, and we didn't expect them to keep the ball out of the net, and they did those things. Take the small victories. Look at the positive. Don't immediately jump to, oh my God, people are getting ahead of themselves. It's just a win. It's exciting. Who cares?
Yeah. Right. No, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it gets them off the back, right? But again, you gotta take into account. I would like to see this performance if they do this next summer in a qualifier.
Sure.
Because then you know well that both teams are at full strength and they both have the same mentality going into the game, right?
So, Mark, to use your own argument against you, though, are you not going to take anything? Does it matter to you next year if they get the win the exact same way? Are you going to have the same takeaway? Where right now it sounds like you're disappointed in the fact that Mexico still dominated the U.S. Will you care a year from now if they get the win?
No, yeah. If they get the win a year from now, when both teams are clearly the mentality is qualifying, and that's a competitive game. Both teams are going to be at full strength. I would totally give U.S. the credit for playing that way. I'm just not ready to take the next step and give them credit for tonight when they had no possession at all. And it was pretty much a fluke goal. It was a good play.
Wow, people are not ever going to be satisfied. Thanks for the. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little frustrated here because look,
this is a results-driven business.
You win, you play to win the game, okay? And they won the game. Now he can make the argument, oh, they didn't come in with the same mentality. I'm sorry, I'm calling bullcrap on that because whether or not Mexico doesn't value the game as much as the American team was significantly weaker in relative terms than what Mexico called in. Mexico didn't call in their B- team, okay? They called in the best, except for Gio dos Santos and a couple of guys. That was Javier Hernandez starting up top for Mexico. Yep. That was Javier Hernandez, who plays for Manchester United. Don't tell me.
That was the Negris that couldn't get a starting nod and had to come in as a sub at the end, okay? This was a powerful Mexican team. Now, you can say, like, I get it, Mark. If you want the U.S. to play a higher level of game, we all do. Okay,
I dropped Mark. Go ahead.
But no, that's fine. I know he's gone, but I'm still wanting to say something to him. Is that you can't make the U.S. play that game overnight? You know, it can't.
Right. Area code 803. Who's this?
Hey, this is Bob.
Hey, Bob. What's going on?
Hey, not much. I was just going to say basically what you said about Hernandez, and Mexico had most of the possession, but it didn't feel like they were dominating the game.
I didn't think so either until the end, until they put a couple of chances and Timmy Howard had to stand on his head.
Right, and then Howard just was unbelievable, and I don't know, and I really liked the fact he was captain. It just felt
it did fit.
I have to say that we need Bocanegra to be replaced as captain, but there was something about it, and Cameron was just unbelievable. I mean, he belonged in the EPL. It's just clear. It was awesome. I don't know.
But he's not going to play that position in the EPL.
It's an awesome game.
He's not going to play that position in the EPL. You're right. That we'll have to see how that plays out at Stoke. Area code 281. Who's this?
Hey, this is the third Mark. This one for
what's up, Mark number 3?
Dude, if you cannot be satisfied with a win in Azteca, you cannot be satisfied in general.
Look, and I'm generally one of those people who forgive the fans who always want us to be better. And look, the goal is to continue to get better because is that a World Cup winning team? No, it's not. But look, if you can't enjoy the victories that your team presents you because you're always looking for a reason to come down on them, then I don't understand what you're doing rooting for this team in general. Follow.
Here's the thing, though: if that game was against Spain, everyone would be like, they wouldn't be talking about the level of play being different between the two because it's Mexico. I think that's why we talk about that.
Sure, but there are things we know about Mexico and where the United States is in its development that we're going to concede possession. Should we every time? No, we should absolutely fight for possession, but there are other ways to skin. There are multiple ways to skin the cat. In this case. It involved a young team playing defensive soccer and catching a goal. And I'm not going to ever apologize for winning a game like that. I'm just not. I'm tired of this.
You do not have to.
The goal is to get better, okay? And the goal is to turn the United States, and this is what Clemson wants to do, turn the United States into something that approximates Spain. Will they ever be Spain? Probably not. But at least approximate Spain. But until you can get there, until that happens, win the game however you can win the game.
You know how you improve. You know how you. But was that Mark?
Yeah, who cares how ugly a win is as long as it's a win?
Yeah, well, look, I mean, again, because it's a friendly and because we're talking about getting better and next year is qualifying and all of those things, eventually those thoughts have to come. Thanks for the call. Eventually those thoughts have to come, and there has to be a move to develop. But if you're there's only so much you can get out of the game, right? There's only so many positives and so many areas of focus. In this case, it was experience for young players. It was testing out a back line that had never played together at this level before, and they passed the test with flying colors. That's enough.
Here's the thing. You want to get the level of Mexico one day. You want to have a soccer culture. You want to have guys that are brought up in something. You need results like this. You need to have. There can't be any safe havens in the world or places you can't go to and feel you can't get a result. You have to go through this because these next round of players, they're going to be brought up in a world where Mexico or Azteca is an achievable thing.
Right. It's so easy for soccer fans to minimize victories and their own, but also the opponents. and I'm sure you'll hear this, Jared, because like you said, you work with a lot of Mexican expats.
I know exactly what's going to be said tomorrow.
They're going to tell you, oh, you won that ugly. That barely even counts. That was a friendly. Who cares? You're going to hear all of those things. And you know what? Don't let it bother you because it's a win in a place.
It won't bother me. It won't bother me because I'm going to kiss the badge, baby. I'm going to kiss the badge right in front of him.
Jared's making sure to rock the gear at his job the next time he goes in. And you got to fly your colors, man. This is look.
Oh yeah.
Look, we are in the business. This show and American soccer fans, because we are so passionate and because we care so, we are in the business of second guessing. That is what we do, and it's sports fans in general. In the business of second guessing, it's never good enough until you have that trophy in your hands or your team has that trophy in their hands. It's not good enough. So I can understand that there has to be some discussion about how do you get better from here. But if you can't enjoy it tonight, I really don't understand what you're doing rooting for this team. If you can't enjoy it right now, if your first thought when the whistle blows is Mexico was the better team, we got lucky. Oh my God. If that's your first thought, you're a terribly depressed, horrible sports fan, human being, and you should just stop. Just stop.
And I completely agree with you. And I know that part of being there's the fanboy mentality out there is find something negative to pick apart every time. Enjoy this one.
Yes.
Enjoy it.
I think
what barriers are left, honestly, what big barriers are left for the U.S. team now? You have make a World Cup final. You know, I mean, this was one of the big barriers out there that mentally held back the U.S. national team, and it's gone.
The move to getting to where Mexico should be, because honestly, what Mexico is doing right now in terms of winning a gold medal and the quality of their national team is more about realizing their potential than it is actually like getting better and better and better. They're really just kind of doing what they should have been doing all along. In order for the United States to get there, it's going to take some time. And I would like to win a few games between now and then. And I'm happy with this. Area code 203, who's this?
Yeah, this is JJ Duke from Fairfield, Connecticut. How you guys doing?
What's up, JJ?
Not much. Yeah, I saw you guys on the Twitter. Decided to give you guys a call. Yeah, I mean, fantastic result tonight, obviously. We were pinned back the entire night. Got the goal. You know, shut up 67,000 people in the stand.
Were there that many?
Something about that. But you guys got to look at it realistically. Yeah, it was a great result. It was also a friendly.
Yeah, okay. Again, you can minimize it 1,000 different ways, and a lot of them are valid. And I'm not going to tell you that you're wrong to say, oh, it was a friendly, and oh, this thing and that thing or whatever. Mexico had all of the. That's fine. I just don't know why we have to bring it down right now. Why do we got to bring it down right now?
What we can do is talk about the positives that we can learn from this going forward.
Sure.
And the big thing, Jeff Cameron.
Yeah,
the guy was a monster.
Jeff Cameron.
I won't disagree with you one bit.
No, Jeff Cameron. In fact, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and declare this now. Jeff Cameron won the game at us. I mean, he won that game almost single-handedly. Jeff Cameron. I mean, you had to get
scoring the goal. Aside from scoring the goal, he was the most important guy on the field.
He set the tone. He cleaned up everything. You know, I thought a lot of players had dodgy nights. Thanks for the call, JJ. But Jeff Cameron was a rock throughout, and he may have had. And in fact, I think in the first minute he misjudged a tackle on a ball in behind. But it didn't end up costing the United States, and he recovered, and he was absolutely rock solid. Area code 954. Excuse me. Who's this?
This is Miguel, and realistically speaking, to all you naysayers out there, we just grew up.
I think so. I think it's a big moment.
Gave us a shirt.
Yeah.
There's a saying in Spanish that I use with my father and other people that I speak about soccer, about teams that have a shirt. It's a shirt. When you see that shirt on the field, you're respected, no matter who's wearing it.
Mm-hmm.
When you see that Argentina shirt, doesn't matter who the forward is, it's the shirt. Those players grow. Those players play for the shirt. They play big. They find victories. How many German teams, how many Italian teams have you seen on the field who you think, this is an awful team, and, geez, they won?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody remember Toto Schilacci?
Yeah.
When Italy played with Toto Schilacci, the guy came out of nowhere and went back to nowhere. But when he wore that Italy shirt, it was huge.
Yeah.
And the U.S. right now just got their first shirt.
Yeah.
Under The U.S. has learned that they can go anywhere, play against anybody, with anybody in the U.S. shirt, and win. A first victory in Italy, and the first victory against Mexico in Mexico. What more do you guys want?
I know.
A World Cup. That's
I know.
The only thing that's left.
It's amazing to me. Thanks for the call.
Here's the problem with that, though. The U.S. changes its shirt every year.
Area code 682, last caller. Who's this?
Hey, this is David in Austin.
Hey, David.
I was just wondering, I share everybody's thoughts about, Howard was great, Cameron was great, Shea was great. How would this game have been different if Clint Dempsey and Michael Bradley had been in the lineup? Would it have been the same result, or was there something about the way that this team was made up of, sort of it was a B-minus team? Was there something about that made us win the game?
Is it wrong for me to say that Mexico lost this more than the U.S. won it? I really feel that Mexico didn't do all the things that I expect from Mexico. They didn't take care of the ball well. Lots of balls going out of bounds. A lot of balls being intercepted and passes intersected.
But Jared, it would have been easy for the United States to kind of pack it in and say, all right, we're going to work for this draw and we'll be fine. You know what I mean?
I agree with that too. But I think that the U.S. would be less likely to pack it in and work for the draw if those other players are on the field. I think you would have seen them go at Mexico even more if those players are on the field. Know what that would have meant? It's all hypothetical. I have no idea. All I know is that Jurgen Klinsmann was able to find a decent complement of players at the right moments and the right times of the game. I think he really understood where the game was at from a personality standpoint of the game and found the right portions to put the right personalities into those situations.
All right, Alex, you're the last caller. What's up?
Hey, man, I just wanted to say that I love how our goal was so dirty, yet it made such an impact.
It was dirty. Dirty.
A little bit dirty.
Troll goal, I love it.
Yeah, no, it was absolutely a troll goal. I mean, it was 100%. It trolled the hell out of me.
Michael freaking Arasco
It was a great backflip pass. What did he call that thing?
Yeah, a back heel from Terrence Boyd. Thanks for the call. All right. The calls are still coming in, but we got to call it a night at this point. Look, the bow on this, okay, is the takeaway is that you broke that streak at Azteca. It's over. That's done with. Okay, it's still 1-24, but you've won at Azteca. That little bugaboo has been taken care of. Now you move on. Okay, now you take the next step, and all of these people who want to minimize the victory, the goal now is to get better. And head into the qualifiers against Jamaica feeling this momentum and actually bringing it to bear. And that means the full team playing a better, being a better team overall. The defense now, oh, look, we put a great defensive shift. We found ourselves a center back. Maybe we found two center backs. Maybe we found ourselves a left back. It doesn't get, it's easier to we want him to get forward a little bit more. But
we found a center back. Let's leave it at that. We found a center back. Let's just leave it right there, okay?
Getting gritty. All right.
Hey, those of you guys that are trying to call in still that can't get in, you can leave us an email, show@bestsoccershow.com. You can definitely try to get in there. Voicemail, you can call our phone number, 201-430-2678. Did I get that right, Richard?
201-430-2378.
2378.
201-430-best. See, I'm getting loopy here. We've got to close this out. You can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/bestsoccershow, YouTube/bestsoccershow. We're back. The new show will be out on Friday because we got to close out our week of shows. The last one is coming at you Friday morning. Find us on kick.com, KYCK, social network for soccer. All right, Jared, help me out here. I'm laboring to the finish line. I need a little bit of help. What else am I missing? The people.
YouTube. You get us on YouTube. You can see this video show right here. Hear yourself if you called in. Go look at it. Listen. Watch it on YouTube. You can also catch us on Facebook. Facebook.com/bestsoccershow. You can also get us on Twitter @bestsoccershow. Any one of those ways you can participate in the show.
I know it's a lot to throw at you. Listen to it. Go to NASN.TV. Find all the links. All right. Thanks, guys. Congratulations to the American soccer public, Jared. We've got our first win at Azteca. Now it's onward and upward, right? That's what we're trying to do. All right. Bye, guys.
Only the